Joel Osteen, the senior pastor of Lakewood Church in Houston, Texas, which stands as the largest church in the United States and a well-known author, has become a beacon of hope and inspiration for millions of people globally. However, recent heartbreaking news has struck his family and tested his own faith in the face of an unimaginable tragedy. This turn of events is a reminder that even those who spread hope are not immune to personal hardship and emotional challenges. To learn more about what has occurred in Joel Osteen's life, stay tuned as we explore this deeper. Before delving into the difficult news affecting his family, it is important to reflect on Joel Osteen's early life and the unique journey that led him to becoming one of the most prominent Christian figures of this century. Joel Osteen was born in Houston, Texas in 1963 as the youngest of 6 children. His parents, John Osteen and Dolores Pilgrim, played a foundational role in shaping his early years. His father, John, had originally been ordained as a Southern Baptist pastor, but made the monumental decision to break away from the Southern Baptist denomination in 1958. Just 1 year later, he started Lakewood Church, an independent, non-denominational church in an abandoned feed store in Northeast Houston. Joel's early education took him to Humble High School, which he graduated from in 1981. He went on to attend Oral Roberts University in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where he studied radio and television communications, but did not complete his degree. Despite not finishing his formal education, Joel's path eventually intersected with the media world, something that would play a major role in his future ministry. From 1982 to 1999, Joel worked behind the scenes, producing the church's television ministry. Even though his family had established a strong presence in ministry, Joel was initially not seen as someone who would take the mantle as head pastor. While his siblings and in-laws actively participated on stage as preachers, Joel, the more introverted member of the family, preferred working behind the camera. He ran Lakewood's media department for over 16 years, perfecting the lighting, directing the cameramen, and ensuring the church's broadcasts were professional and polished. On Saturdays, he would visit his father's home to choose his wardrobe for Sunday services, track which sermon outfits were worn, and provide notes on how his father should move for the camera to capture that perfect moment. Despite his deep involvement in the media ministry, Joel initially had no intention of ever stepping up to preach. His father, however, had asked him hundreds of times over the years to take on the role of preacher, and Joel continually refused. That is, until his father, who had fallen ill, asked once again. In 1999, when his father was struggling with health issues, Joel agreed to step in. It was only a few days after Joel delivered his first sermon that tragedy struck. His father passed away suddenly, leaving a hole in the ministry that Joel had not anticipated filling. It was in those difficult days, when the reality of his father's passing began to settle, that Joel felt an unexpected and deep calling to take up the mantle. In a 2013 interview, Joel admitted that, despite the grief and uncertainty, he felt a strong desire to step up and lead the church, even though he had not been formally trained in ministry. It didn't really make sense, Joel said in the interview. I hadn't gone to seminary. I had only ministered one time. I never dreamed the ministry would grow, but 14 years later, here we are today. Upon assuming the role of head pastor, Joel Osteen quickly proved to be an astute leader who saw the value of expanding the church's media presence. Lakewood Church grew exponentially under Joel's leadership, becoming the largest and fastest-growing church in the United States. He not only purchased billboards and advertisements to increase the church's visibility, but he also focused on strategically negotiating television air slots, expanding into global media markets, and reaching millions of households worldwide. His church's weekly broadcasts soon reached over 100 countries, making Lakewood Church a household name for believers seeking hope and encouragement. In addition to building Lakewood's international media presence, Joel's best-selling books played a crucial role in cementing his place as a global faith leader. His 2004 book, Your Best Life Now, which outlined 7 practical steps to live life to its fullest, became a monumental success. Soon after, Joel embarked on a nationwide tour, preaching to thousands across major U.S. cities, and in 2005, Lakewood Church moved to a massive new building, the former Compaq Center, which was rebranded as the church's new 16,000-seat megachurch. This move allowed Lakewood to accommodate the growing number of members flocking to the church, with attendance reaching over 50,000 by 2016. Joel's televised services also became some of the most watched religious programs in the world, attracting an estimated 10 million viewers every week by 2018. Despite his global influence, Osteen's preaching style has not been without criticism. While some people have embraced his messages of positivity, self-improvement, and motivational advice, others believe his approach may overly simplify Christianity and strip it of its deeper theological teachings. Osteen's prosperity gospel, the belief that faith can lead to personal success, including wealth, has sparked particularly strong debates. Critics argue that this gospel distorts traditional Christian teachings, encouraging believers to focus on material wealth rather than spiritual growth. This focus on wealth, they claim, can also perpetuate an unhealthy focus on individual prosperity, to the detriment of the poor and disadvantaged. Moreover, critics from both Protestant and Catholic perspectives argue that this form of theology essentially blames people for their misfortunes and can be used to exploit the vulnerable emotionally and financially. Though controversial, Joel's teachings and lifestyle continue to resonate with millions, with his ministry expanding across borders and reaching global audiences. His relationship with his wife, Victoria Osteen, has also garnered public attention. The couple, who married in 1987, have now been married for over 30 years and have 2 children, Jonathan and Alexandra Osteen. However, their high-profile relationship faced scrutiny when Victoria was accused of assaulting a flight attendant in 2008, an incident that occurred on a 2005 flight from Texas to Colorado. The lawsuit filed by the attendant, Sharon Brown, claimed Victoria had verbally and physically abused her after she failed to immediately clean up a spill from Victoria's armrest. Though these personal controversies have certainly impacted the Osteen family's image, Joel and Victoria's public lives have continued to move forward as they lead Lakewood Church with steadfast dedication. Joel Osteen's journey, though marked by controversy, has been characterized by a commitment to hope, faith, and service to others. His ability to build a global community of believers and spread his message of encouragement and transformation has earned him a significant place in Christian leadership, even if his teachings are sometimes the subject of debate and criticism. The challenges that Joel and his family have faced, both personally and professionally, have shaped his character and ministry, leaving an indelible impact on the church and its followers. In 2008, a significant controversy emerged involving Victoria Osteen, wife of Pastor Joel Osteen, after she was accused of physically assaulting a flight attendant during a 2005 incident on a flight from Texas to Colorado. According to reports, Victoria became upset when the flight attendants did not clean up a spill on her armrest quickly enough. The attendant, Sharon Brown, accused Victoria of verbally and physically abusing her and another flight attendant, claiming that Victoria threw her against a bathroom door and elbowed her. The alleged incident led to a lawsuit, in which Brown sought 10% of Victoria's estimated $100 million net worth as punitive damages. However, when the case went to court, the facts were contested. Witnesses confirmed a disagreement occurred, causing a delay in the flight, and the Osteens were escorted from the aircraft. Some witnesses suggested that Victoria had acted dismissively toward the flight attendants due to their race, but both Joel and Victoria denied any physical altercation. After just 2 hours of deliberation, the jury found Victoria innocent of the physical assault charges, but fined her $3,000 for interfering with the flight crew. The case, while raising questions about the Osteens' behavior, remained a relatively minor issue compared to what was soon to unfold at Lakewood Church. In February 2024, a heartbreaking and terrifying shooting incident rocked the Lakewood Church community. On February 11th, during the Spanish-language services, witnesses reported hearing multiple shots at around 2 p.m. A woman who had a bomb threat opened fire and shot a 47-year-old man in the leg, wounding him. Police later confirmed there was no bomb in her backpack and that she had also sprayed a substance on the ground. The shooter, identified as 36-year-old Janessa Von Moreno, was killed by off-duty officers after pointing an AR-15 rifle at them. In the exchange of gunfire, her 7-year-old son was critically injured, sustaining severe brain damage. The shooting, which was over in under 5 minutes, caused widespread panic as rumors of a second shooter emerged, but the police assured the public that there was no second threat. The shooter, Janessa Moreno, was identified as having a history of mental health issues and a criminal record. While her exact motive remained unclear, it was reported that anti-Semitic writings were found and that her AR-15 had a Palestine sticker. Lakewood Church responded with calls for prayers for the injured and their families, with Pastor Joel Osteen expressing his devastation over the incident. "We don't understand why these things happen. We're going to stay strong and continue to move forward," he shared with his millions of followers. While this tragedy highlighted the need for unity and resilience, it also intensified the ongoing controversies surrounding Joel Osteen's leadership and preaching style. Though Osteen tends to avoid engaging with controversial topics such as abortion, politics, and same-sex marriage, he has not been immune to backlash. He has sparked debates over his stance on homosexuality, with critics arguing that his refusal to offer clear biblical guidance on the subject creates confusion within his congregation. Although Osteen has stated that homosexuality is a sin in his interpretation of Scripture, he also emphasized that LGBTQ individuals are welcome in his church without judgment, a position that has led to criticisms from conservative Christians. These critics argue that by not condemning homosexuality outright, Osteen prioritizes cultural relevance over traditional Christian values. Further controversy arose when Victoria Osteen made comments in 2014 suggesting that Christianity is centered on self-happiness and that people worship God for their own personal satisfaction. Her words were met with fierce criticism from Christian writers who denounced her perspective as heretical and contrary to traditional Christian doctrine. Critics such as Matt Walsh and R. Albert Mohler Jr. stated that her view misrepresents the core of Christianity, which focuses on overcoming sin, duty, and obedience, rather than pursuing personal happiness. The backlash against her statements reflected ongoing concerns about the Osteen family's interpretation of Christian faith, with some accusing them of promoting a self-centered, prosperity-driven gospel. Despite these controversies, Joel Osteen's influence continues to be significant, though it remains divisive. His teachings and lifestyle have put him at the center of intense public scrutiny, especially after the recent shooting incident at Lakewood Church, which has forced him to navigate the complexities of faith, leadership, and public perception. The situation continues to evolve as the Osteens respond to both the personal heartbreak they are facing and the continued criticism surrounding their ministry. Prominent evangelical leaders, including John MacArthur and Albert Mohler, publicly denounced Joel Osteen's controversial statement about Mormonism. These respected figures in Christian theology strongly disagreed with Osteen's remark that Mormons could be classified as Christians, arguing that the fundamental differences between Mormon theology and traditional Christianity are so vast that they cannot be reconciled. Critics contend that Osteen's stance undermines the authority of the Bible, which they believe forms the foundation of Christian doctrine. His comments sparked a broader theological debate, with many evangelical leaders insisting that Osteen's interpretation compromised the traditional Christian understanding of the faith and undermined the importance of doctrinal purity within Christianity. In 2020, Osteen found himself facing a new wave of criticism amid the coronavirus pandemic when it was revealed that his church, Lakewood Church, had received $4.4 million in Federal Paycheck Protection Program (PPP) funding. While Lakewood Church officials claimed the money was used to protect approximately 370 jobs, no concrete list of these jobs was made available. Despite Osteen's previous public denials of any government funding, data from the U.S. Small Business Administration exposed the fact that his church had indeed benefited from the federal assistance. This revelation fueled a public outcry, as many people questioned the ethics of a multimillion-dollar church accepting federal support intended for struggling small businesses and workers. Critics, especially those advocating for fiscal responsibility and social justice, pointed to this incident as emblematic of the questionable business practices employed by wealthy churches in the United States. Adding to Osteen's controversies, his response to Hurricane Harvey in 2017 sparked a significant backlash from both the public and media. Lakewood Church, which has a massive 16,000 seat capacity, did not open its doors to victims of the hurricane, even though many local churches and places of worship had stepped up to shelter the displaced. Lakewood Church's initial refusal to provide shelter was heavily criticized on social media, with many accusing Osteen of being out of touch with the local community. Church representatives initially stated that Lakewood itself was also suffering from some damage due to the storm, which had prevented them from opening their doors. However, after public pressure mounted and many social media users expressed outrage, Osteen publicly reassured the community that the church would indeed serve as a temporary shelter once other local shelters had reached capacity. By August 28, 2017, after a great deal of media scrutiny, Lakewood Church finally opened its doors as a temporary refuge for those affected by the storm. The controversy surrounding Osteen's lifestyle has only grown as a televangelist and author became known for his wealth and extravagant living. Joel Osteen's ownership of a private jet has been widely discussed and remains a controversial aspect of his public image. Critics argue that his use of such luxurious transportation contradicts the core Christian teachings of humility and selflessness. The jet's ownership, along with other aspects of his wealth, raise important questions about whether a preacher should live in such opulence, especially when advocating for a theology that often emphasizes personal prosperity and success. Supporters of Osteen, however, argue that the private jet is simply a practical necessity due to his extensive travel schedule for ministry purposes, including speaking engagements, televangelist appearances, and religious outreach efforts. However, the debate persists on whether Osteen's lifestyle aligns with his pastoral mission and Christian teachings. Adding fuel to the fire, Osteen drew harsh criticism for a post he shared on his social media platform X, where he discussed the joys found in life's simple things. In his message, Osteen expressed gratitude for small pleasures such as family, health, and the beauty of the natural world. While the post was met with some positive responses, it quickly became the subject of widespread criticism, particularly from people who pointed out the contradictions between his stated appreciation for simplicity and the display of his considerable wealth. Social media users noted that Osteen resides in an opulent home valued at over $12 million in the exclusive River Oaks neighborhood of Houston, and the family owns several luxury vehicles, including an astonishingly expensive $350 million Ferrari. This irony was not lost on critics, who accused Osteen of being hypocritical for promoting a message of simple living while enjoying the fruits of an extravagant lifestyle. Some even posted photos of his lavish homes, mocking the idea that someone so wealthy could lecture others about life's simpler joys. In his response to the criticism, Osteen stood firm, dismissing the detractors and emphasizing that he was unfazed by the negativity. His focus, he said, remained on spreading positivity, faith, and hope, which he believes are the keys to navigating challenges in life. Despite public outcries, Osteen maintained that his position as a positive influence in the lives of his millions of followers kept him centered on the message of love and faith, rather than on the harsh comments he receives on social media. Osteen and his wife, Victoria, reside in a $12 million mansion in the wealthy River Oaks area of Houston, Texas. This is a testament to the fortune they've amassed through various channels beyond their role as pastors. Joel Osteen, contrary to what some might assume, does not take a formal salary from Lakewood Church. However, his income comes from several lucrative ventures, including book sales, media appearances, television broadcasts of his sermons, and endorsement deals. Osteen has published multiple best-selling books, most notably Your Best Life Now, which offers a blueprint for living a prosperous and fulfilling life. Furthermore, he and his wife maintain a robust media presence, frequently engaging with celebrities, including high-profile figures like Kanye West, and positioning themselves as both spiritual guides and public figures. Joel Osteen's financial success and influence stand in stark contrast to his modest beginnings. Growing up in Houston, Osteen was not formally trained in theology, but learned much of his preaching technique by observing his father, John Osteen, the founder of Lakewood Church. Despite his lack of a theological degree, Joel Osteen has evolved into one of the most well-known figures in the American evangelical movement. Through his television broadcasts and massive church services, Osteen preaches a version of the prosperity gospel, which asserts that God desires his followers to live lives marked by physical health and material wealth. His unique approach to preaching and the message of positivity and success has gained him a massive following, but also significant criticism from some within the more conservative and traditional religious circles who see his approach as overly commercial and contrary to biblical teachings about self-sacrifice and humility. Despite his critics, Joel Osteen has successfully built a media empire, combining spirituality with motivational speaking in a way that has resonated deeply with millions worldwide. His reach and wealth make him one of the richest pastors in the world, with a net worth estimated at $100 million. The success of his ministry has demonstrated the powerful intersection between media, faith, and wealth, while also igniting discussions about the ethics of wealth in the ministry, the impact of prosperity gospel teachings, and the role of humility in religious leadership.